Hi, today I'm here to talk about setup troubles with my Glowforge. The Glowforge was something I bought 5 years ago. It was actually a birthday present for myself. I ordered it in, I think, January of 2020. And again, it was like a 4 to 6 or so week, delivery time and so forth. It did come in the end of February. And of course, right from the get-go, things didn't quite go the way they were supposed to. We had to go pick it up at FedEx, so which required our truck and so forth. So that was fine. But again, all over the box, and this is a laser, which is glass and so forth inside. All over the box, it said, handle with care, 2-person lift, do not carry it on its end. So what does a person do when we go to pick it up? We see one person pick it up and put it on the end of a dolly to carry it outside. So right from the start, I wasn't really pleased. I mean, the box seemed okay. He didn't thump it around, but, again, clearly they don't follow any of the directions they're given on anything, and that was FedEx. So I wasn't, so that right there got me off to a little bit of a bad start. We got it home. It is big. It is here behind me. It is 3 feet wide and, at least 3 feet wide, 3.5 feet wide, I think, and 30 inches wide, deep and 8 to 10 inches tall. So it needed a good space to go in. We got it home. We got it into the basement. Then, we're trying to figure out a location. Well, really, I didn't have a great location. What I have here is actually a greenhouse that we had been using to grow plants. But my husband's health had started to decline over the years, and he had severe COPD, and gardening was not something we could keep up with anymore because he couldn't really go out and rototill. Me with doing craft shows and stuff, it seemed like the vegetables, when they needed to be picked, it was either like raining and you couldn't pick green beans, or I was away and they got too big. So it got very hard to keep up with the garden, and he couldn't really do it anymore. So, and this is where we had started our plants, because we live in New Hampshire, so our growing season is all of about 4 months, about max, so that you need to start them inside if you're going to have any hopes of really getting much of a crop. So we weren't really using it anymore. I needed a place to put the Glowforge, and again, in the basement behind this Glowforge, the back of this room behind here was all wood storage, or even up to the side of this was wood storage. So this really we couldn't move. We didn't have a choice of where this went or moving it to a new location or anything. The other thing is the Glowforge had to be vented out a window. There is a window up here and so forth. So this was really the only option to have it in the basement, and happened to be where the greenhouse was, and since we weren't using the greenhouse, we put it in there. That actually turned out to be a very wise decision. Not that I knew it then, but the Glowforge also has to really be above 60, 65 degrees to work well. And here in New Hampshire in the wintertime, in my unheated basement, it is usually about 50, 55 degrees. So the Glowforge would not work unless it was warm enough. So that's another thing that this greenhouse has worked out well. You notice I've got it draped. I've got a comforter and things over here. The window is somewhat blocked. The vent does go up behind that and out the window outside. We are in the basement of my home. And that works well because I also have a space heater in here, which I can use. I'm going to close this off when I'm going to use it next, and it will heat up the little room in there for, pretty quickly, and then I'll be able to use the Glowforge. Getting my Glowforge set up was not exactly easy, though. Once we got it home and we got it in here and all that, then you had to get it to connect to the internet, to their signal, not a regular Wi-Fi. It had to connect to their signal to be set up. I had a lot of trouble with that. We thought it was our internet connections, and we got boosters and did all sorts of things and played around with it. And it was, again, we came the end of February. It was 2 weeks or 3 weeks into March before I ever even got to try it. Because, again, number one, we had to vent it out. We had to get a special vent and things to fit and to go out the window. There were certain things we had to do. And by the time we got all that together, at least 3 weeks. So I was getting a little antsy to use my new machine that I hadn't even got to try out. We got it set up. Again, the internet issues took me a while to work out. But it took me another good week or so to figure that out. Finally, I did get it set up, and then I didn't realize that once I had it set up that initial time, I didn't have to do that each time. I thought every time I turned it on, I had to go through that process and wait for it to connect with them and stuff. But no, once you get it set up, it was fine from there. So this is a Glowforge Pro, again, that I bought in 2020. That was right, and kind of lucked out, really, when it was delivered, because around the beginning of March, that first week in March, is when we went into COVID lockdown. Over the second week in March, because my family had gone out to dinner, I remember, for my birthday, and that was the last time we got together as a family and could see each other, because we literally went into COVID lockdown after that. So kind of lucked out in a way, because I had the machine, it was in the home, so now I had the time to play with it, because we couldn't go too many places and so forth. So in a way, that kind of, wasn't a bad thing. We figured out the heating stuff because, once I got the internet connection and all that going and got it, turned on and stuff, then I realized the heating was an issue. It was in March, so it was still cold here and so forth like that. And now that I got it going, the next thing was you had to figure out how to create the files for it, which it needs really like SVG files so that it could read different layers and know which layer it wants to cut and which layer it wants to engrave and things like that. And the Glowforge came with some leather and so forth, but it, I honestly have to say, is the thinnest leather I have ever seen. Nothing I use is that thin. I mean, maybe it would be good for a wallet, but it's certainly not thick enough for anything else. And if you don't know anything about leather, it comes in all different thicknesses, ounces, 2 to 3 ounce, 3 to 4 ounce, or 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, all the way up to like 13, 14 ounce. So this leather, I don't know, is like 1 ounce or half an ounce. I mean, it was thin. It was nothing I wanted to use. So you had to get materials, which I used my own leather, and it talked about masking them and stuff like that because it would burn and stuff like this. And, try to mask something that's little tiny with intricate detail. You cannot get the tape off. So that was something that's like that. I can't do that. That's good. It would take me twice as long to get the tape off as it would, to do that would be most of the creation time or process time of making it. So that was ridiculous. So I went on to do it without masking it, which I still do now. I don't mask anything. It's going to be painted anyway, so if the edges have a little bit of darkened edge, it doesn't really matter. But you had to make the SVG file. So there are all sorts of programs and stuff, and through Photoshop and this and that you can use SVG files. Well, that was like a whole new thing to try to learn, and I tried to use these programs a couple of times, and it seems so complicated for me. It's like, it's going to take me forever just to learn this program, and I'm never going to get to use this machine. So I was getting a little bit upset and, frustrated. So I decided now the machine can scan things. It can scan your pattern and stuff like that. So I started experimenting with that. And again, at first, it has to be different layers and things to know which things to cut and which things to engrave. So it took me a little bit, I looked at some SVG files and they had different colors of different layers and things like that. So I tried that. So I learned that if I made the outline of the item in one color and then the design in the middle a different color or a lighter shade, that it would sometimes pick up which was to cut, what was to cut, and what was to engrave. But that was a learning curve. That I'll be talking a little bit more about next week when I'm actually going to get my Glowforge going and talk about the very first projects I made with it and how it really helped to inspire me. So once I did get this going, it really did help rekindle my passion. I talked about the whole month of February, how I had kind of lost my way because nobody was buying book covers and things like that anymore. And so that kind of disheartened me, and I really didn't know what to make anymore that would make me feel good and things that inspired me and so forth. And the Glowforge really helped me to get that back because butterflies were one of the things I had always wanted to make for years. And there was a very traditional standard size butterfly, but nothing like I can do now. Nothing like all the different shapes of butterflies and things that I can do now. So, and different sizes and everything else. So it upped my game and really helped to re-inspire me because I wanted to be doing these butterfly things for over 30 years and stuff. But just, leather is too thick to cut, especially if it was for like a hairpiece or something. It needs to be thicker, so it never worked out. So if you want to find out more about that and see how I actually work with my Glowforge and things like that, that will be coming up on March 13th. I'll be doing a live demo here and taking you a little bit through the process I go through to make my patterns and create them and cut them and so forth like that. Other things, just to remind you of, I did launch a new belt collection, which is a whole other aspect of my leather work. I kind of have two different themed products. I have the nature themed things, and then I have the hand-tooled leather belts and guitar straps. I just launched a collection of 16 new belts hand tool designs in widths from 1 3/4 inch down to 3/4 inch, custom fit, things like that. So you can find, there's more information about that on my website or on my social media and stuff if you're interested in anything like that. If you sign up for my email, you will get a discount of some sort with your first order. You have to go through a couple emails maybe to get there, but you will get a special offer, and that's one of the benefits of being on my email list. Again, they had early bird access to the collection when it launched, which is a standard thing whenever I launch a collection. My VIPs always get at least a day or 12 hours or whatever early bird access to order from the collection or pre-order, things like that. I've had events like that, or free shipping, or they get a special extra discount they get special offers. They also get, special promotions and things like that. These videos that I record are delivered into their emails once a week, so they, don't have to scramble around trying to find where they are and so forth like that. I know everybody is busy. So those are some of the advantages of joining my email. And these videos, basically, I'm trying to have come out every Thursday. I tried to make them live, but again, I'm having recording issues, so I'm going to go this way for a little bit until I get better at the recording the live things. That's going to wrap it up for now. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.